going on today, guys? So, I am busy doing my Ridley Scott series because I'll be reviewing a select few of his films for the upcoming film The Martian, starring Matt Damon, which I am totally excited for. And today, I just wanted to wrap up the Lord of the Rings / Hobbit trilogy by talking to you guys about the last one in the Hobbit trilogy, The Battle of the Five Armies. This is the direct sequel, yes, I believe this is the truly direct sequel to The Desolation of Smaug, and stars once again Martin Freeman as Hobbit Bilbo Baggins, as he and the dwarves are now in Erebor and they now have recovered the gold, but Thorin Oakenshield is now consumed with it in a very dark and evil way. His love of the gold of Erebor becomes too great, and he becomes totally obsessed with it. He barely eats, he barely sleeps, he just sits on the throne and just holds gold and jewels and is like, and it's not good. And at the same time, everyone from Lake Town, which is the place from Desolation of Smaug, is now destroyed by Smaug the dragon, and sadly he is slain within the first 10 minutes of the movie. But in the process of all of this, the Dark Elves' enemy has now returned as they plan to destroy Erebor once and for all, and to destroy everyone from Middle-earth that isn't orcs. Now the dwarves are faced with their ultimate task by not only protecting Erebor, but also keeping anyone and anything out and destroying an orc army, or else they will be taken out as well. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was totally pumped out of my mind. I think everyone was pumped out of their mind for this movie, and I couldn't wait. I was standing there, and it was December 19th of 2014. I was standing there, I was with my friend, and we were just waiting there, and then we walked in. We were just so excited. We were sitting there and we were like, this movie's going to be freaking amazing. We were just so excited for it. Our expectations, I think, were pretty big. And the movie that we got just wasn't the movie that we were all hoping for, unfortunately. I just didn't think it was great. And I think this is definitely the weakest installment in the trilogy. The movie is practically all spectacle, no real plot that much. There really isn't that much amazement in this movie other than fight after fight after fight. This movie is reduced to more of just a war film. Lord of the Rings was always good at creating incredibly amazing characters and a plot that really works. In this case, the plot is just all over the place. It's like there's too many things that are happening at once, and the characters, they're just fine. I mean, Martin Freeman as Bilbo is fantastic. He definitely was the right person for this role, and he embodies the character so well. And also, Ian McKellen as Gandalf. I mean, from every single movie, he is always awesome. He's my favorite character from the Hobbit trilogy. The dwarves, though, the dwarves are such a big problem, because if you asked me to name all of them, I really couldn't. I know Thorin, Balin, Kili, Fili, and that's really it. This movie really does have a lot of problems. It's a very flawed movie. It's definitely far from perfection. And it's really just composed of fight after fight. But that doesn't mean the movie doesn't have its good moments. There are definitely a ton of awesome slow-mo or spectacle moments that just really are amazing. And, I mean, the battle sequences, they're always filmed so well. There's barely any shaky cam to be had. Everything is just filmed with realism. The Scottish cousin of Thorin that comes in, he was my favorite thing about the movie. That is easily my favorite part of the movie, is when the Scottish man comes in and he has like the really big axe and the really big crown hat. I swear to God, my friend and I were sitting there and we were just laughing our heads off because it was just hilarious to just see that. Honestly, guys, in a way this film is kind of unnecessary for the first 20 minutes, because that could have just been all taken care of in the Desolation of Smaug. You could have started out after the events of Lake Town, after Smaug destroyed it. I also really wanted to see more of Bilbo being tempted by the ring. I honestly did, because in the second one you could tell he was. He was physically and emotionally, mentally changing because of the ring. He was killing a lot of people for it, including spiders. And I thought that that was really good. The character arc of Bilbo was just expanded even further, and we got to realize what the ring was doing to him instead of Gollum or Frodo. But in this movie, it just really doesn't happen. I mean, with all honesty, I'm trying to remember. I mean, there's one scene where he puts it on, but I mean, it doesn't really change him. Bilbo's character really just doesn't change that much in this entire movie. he's practically the same character. He never uses his sword, Sting. He never uses it. Another thing I have to add is that this movie is actually surprisingly short for a Lord of the Rings / Hobbit film. I mean, the standard length of Lord of the Rings is just about 3 hours. This movie is 2 hours and 13 minutes long. It's actually really short by Lord of the Rings and Hobbit standards, because Desolation of Smaug was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then the first one was like 2 hours and 45 minutes, so it just went from long to just short, and that was surprising. But this movie is, in a way, comprised of only 3 to 4 chapters in the book, so they really expanded everything out. But if there's one person to really praise for his work, it has to be Peter Jackson. This man always, even in this one, he always knew what he was doing, and just him directing this world and creating this incredibly amazing spectacle, along with Weta Digital, who just does a phenomenal job on each and every one of J.R.R. Tolkien's films. Middle-earth is still the type of place that you want to visit just sometime, because it feels so real. You feel like this is a real world. The Hobbit movies are really good. The Battle of the Five Armies is my least favorite movie in the trilogy, because it just doesn't have what the first two really had. It doesn't really expand Bilbo's character, and I just think it was the weakest installment because there really wasn't a lot of plot to be had. That being said, though, there's still some really awesome parts of this movie. The fights are just so cool, and even though Bilbo doesn't really change, Martin Freeman just embodies that character, and he plays it fantastically. And so does Ian McKellen. He just embodies Gandalf. He's the character that I will remember him as the most. And Lord of the Rings really just made a heavy influence in my life, the way I think about movies, the way I love movies. Those are 3 of the reasons why I love movies so much. So in the end, guys, I'm going to give The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies a C+. Well, thank you guys for watching another one of my movie reviews. I appreciate it as always. I just love all the support that you guys have given me. So, of course, click that like button and send me some comments about what movies you want me to review next, and I will definitely deliver for you guys. Thank you all, and stay tuned.